From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana Siddiqui. Our top story tonight: 500 days have passed since Israel launched its genocide in Gaza. It has left the region in ruins, killing more than 48,000 Palestinians, mostly women and children, and leaving more than 2 million displaced. The violence has forced 90% of Gaza's population to flee at least once. Abu Mursa, a resident of northern Gaza, has been displaced more than a dozen times since October 2023. Standing amid the wreckage, he describes the past 500 days as filled with humiliation, suffering, and bloodshed. More than 245,000 housing units in Gaza have been destroyed or severely damaged. More than 92% of Gaza's roads are in ruins, cutting off vital access to humanitarian aid, and 84% of health facilities no longer functioning. Those who remain in Gaza have no homes, no clean water, and little food as the war has brought them to the brink of starvation. The truce between Israel and Hamas, which came into effect on January 19th, remains fragile and is set to expire in early March during the first week of Ramadan. There is no clear agreement on whether it will be extended or if full-scale fighting will resume. Meanwhile, Israel faces growing legal challenges. The International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for Israeli leaders, accusing them of war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. Also, the International Court of Justice is reviewing a case accusing Israel of genocide in Gaza. Despite this, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu remains defiant, recently expressing support for a plan for the forced displacement of Gaza's residents. Israel claims its offensive was aimed at destroying Hamas, which killed approximately 1,200 Israelis and took 251 as prisoners into Gaza. Hamas's October 7, 2023 attack was prompted by Israeli incursions into Masjid al-Aqsa, Islam's third holiest site. The provocation has been taking place in the context of Israel's long-standing occupation of Palestinian land since 1948. Today, 73 Israeli prisoners remain in Hamas custody, while 36 are believed to have died, including one taken before October 7, 2023. Israeli bombing has left the Al-Karama hospital in Gaza in ruins, leaving thousands without medical care. Video footage shows the hospital in ruins after the Israeli army withdrew from the area. Israel's military also set ambulances on fire, further crippling healthcare services. The hospital, northwest of Gaza City, served more than 150,000 people annually. It also sheltered refugees, but Israeli strikes forced them to evacuate. Palestinian officials say Israel has systematically targeted hospitals, schools, and shelters. Since October 7, 2023, Israeli forces have destroyed 34 of Gaza's 38 hospitals. The remaining 4 operate with limited resources amid severe shortages. Additionally, 80 healthcare centers have stopped services, while 162 others and 136 ambulances were destroyed. A truce has been in place since January 19th, following months of war that has killed more than 48,200 Palestinians, mostly women and children. The International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant over war crimes in Gaza. Israel also faces a genocide case at the International Court of Justice. The Israeli army demolished 16 Palestinian homes in the Al-Karama refugee camp on Tuesday. It is the largest demolition operation in the occupied West Bank since last month. So far, Israel has killed 55 Palestinians and displaced thousands since Israel's military operations began in the West Bank on January 21st. These attacks have come in the wake of the truce between Israel and Hamas that went into effect on January 19th. Witnesses say military bulldozers moved into the camp and started to demolish the structures. Faisal Salama, who heads the Al-Karama Popular Committee, said Palestinian authorities had been notified by the Israeli army of its plans to raze the 16 houses. Israel's army and illegal Israeli settlers have killed at least 916 Palestinians in the occupied West Bank and injured nearly 7,000 others since October 7, 2023. Secretary of State Marco Rubio met Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia's capital Riyadh on Monday. He stressed the need for what he called an arrangement in Gaza to boost regional security. Both leaders backed a continuing halt in fighting. Rubio's trip comes as President Donald Trump proposes forcibly transferring Gaza's population to neighboring countries. Forcible transfer is a crime in international law. Trump says he wants to turn Gaza into a tourism hub, an idea many countries have condemned and rejected. Analysts are also calling his suggestion ethnic cleansing. Rubio and Salman called for the release of all prisoners, including Americans. Rubio pledged stronger U.S.-Saudi economic and defense ties. Talks also covered Syria, Lebanon, and Red Sea security. Rubio's visit follows meetings in Israel with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Thousands gathered in Washington, D.C. yesterday on President's Day to protest Elon Musk and President Donald Trump. The demonstration took place at Union Square near the U.S. Capitol with the theme No King's Day. Trump and Musk have been under fire for exercising what many say is unchecked and unconstitutional power over the government. This includes the recent mass firing of federal employees across a number of governmental departments. Protesters at Monday's rally chanted slogans and held banners criticizing the two men. Signs at the demonstration read, "Nobody elected Musk," and "Send Musk to Mars." Some protesters shouted, "Stop the coup." The event was organized by the 50-51 movement, which stands for 50 protests in 50 states, one movement. Its first protest was held on February 5th. More demonstrations are planned in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Orlando, Cincinnati, and other cities. 4 top deputy mayors in New York City have resigned over Mayor Eric Adams' alleged deal with Donald Trump's administration. They say they are staying true to their oaths and can no longer serve under the embattled mayor. Maria Torres Springer, Meera Joshi, Ann Williams Isom, and Chauncey Parker announced their decision on Monday. Their exit follows a growing scandal. Adams is accused of offering immigration enforcement support in exchange for having his corruption case dismissed. The mayor was indicted last year for bribery, campaign finance violations, and conspiracy. The resignations come just days after Danielle Sassoon, the interim U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, also stepped down. She cited pressure from the Justice Department to drop charges against Adams as her reason for leaving. City leaders, including City Controller Brad Lander and Council member Shahana Hanif, are calling for Adams to resign. Lander is considering invoking a special committee to remove him. New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez warns that the city is on the brink of a governance crisis. White House says Elon Musk has no actual or formal authority. Details after the break, so stay tuned and we'll be right back. Welcome back. The White House has clarified in a court filing that Elon Musk serves as a senior advisor to President Donald Trump, not as an employee of the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. The filing also said Musk does not hold any decision-making authority there. Signed by Joshua Fisher, director of the White House Office of Administration, the filing said Musk has no actual or formal authority to make government decisions himself. Fisher's filing was submitted to District Judge Tanya Chutkan, who is considering a legal challenge by Democratic attorneys general to prevent Musk and his DOGE associates from influencing the federal government. Trump appointed Musk, who has no experience in government service or administration, to lead the DOGE. The task force claims it aims to streamline federal operations and reduce wasteful spending. Acting Chief of Social Security Administration Michelle King has stepped down. This is after reportedly refusing to grant the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, access to sensitive recipient data. King, who served for more than 30 years, left the agency over the weekend. Reports say she rejected requests for Social Security numbers and Medicare details, raising concerns about data privacy. DOGE has been seeking access to multiple federal agencies, including the IRS and the Treasury Department. Critics warn that granting such access could put millions of Social Security beneficiaries at risk. Concerns are mounting over the potential misuse of sensitive data under the DOG's oversight. The White House confirmed that President Donald Trump has nominated Frank Bisignano to take over. Social Security provides benefits to more than 72 million Americans, including retirees and disabled individuals. The Trump administration is asking the Supreme Court to lift an order blocking the firing of the head of the Office of Special Counsel. The office investigates government wrongdoing and protects whistleblowers. In January, President Donald Trump removed agency head Hampton Dellinger. Dellinger called the firing illegal under federal law, which allows removal only for inefficiency, neglect, or misconduct. A lower court granted a temporary block and a federal appeals court upheld it last week, saying it lacked the power to intervene. Now, Trump's legal team wants the Supreme Court to overrule and clear the way for Dellinger's firing. The Trump administration's request cites past Supreme Court rulings affirming a president's right to remove agency heads without cause. Officials have called the order an unprecedented assault on presidential powers. Representative Claudia Tenney has introduced legislation to make President Donald Trump's birthday, June 14th, a federal holiday. On Monday, Tenney said on X that as George Washington's birthday is codified as a federal holiday, Trump's birthday should also be celebrated to recognize him as the founder of America's golden age. Washington, America's first president, was born on February 22nd. President's Day honors his birthday and is celebrated on the third Monday of February. Tenney claimed that no modern president has been more pivotal for the U.S. than Trump. In a separate development, Representative Addison McDowell introduced legislation last month to rename Washington Dulles International Airport after Trump. The BBC's London headquarters were splashed with red paint by the Palestine Action Group. The organization said it also broke windows to protest what it said was the BBC's ongoing complicity in the genocide of Palestinians through its entrenched pro-Israel bias. Palestine Action condemned BBC's biased reporting by downplaying Israeli war crimes and said the news organization had blood on its hands. Burma's military junta has unexpectedly released nearly 1,000 Rohingya prisoners. It has not explained its reason for the rare release. The move follows an Argentinian court's decision to issue arrest warrants for Burma's top generals. The warrants are for crimes against the Rohingya carried out during a brutal military attack on the community in 2017. The UN has called that assault a genocide, but Burma's generals deny wrongdoing. Tekehutun U of the Political Prisoners Network in Burma called it a cover-up attempt. He noted the prisoners were freed immediately after the arrest warrant announcement. The freed group includes 267 women and 67 children. Rohingya leaders fear the junta may force them into military service. Reports suggest the military has already been pressuring Rohingya men in refugee camps to join their ranks. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. Please donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.